In this video, we're going to recreate the page that you see here on the left, and we are using InDesign. Before you even start to bring any images in, the best thing to do is to really make sure you've laid it all out first. And what do I mean by that? The frames. So we're going to begin doing that right now. The first thing to help me would be also go to the grids, guides, and show document grid. Now right here is the rectangle frame, and I'm going to draw out a rectangle, and you can't really see it very well, so that's why I do go into my black stroke. I add a black stroke about 2 point just to helps me visually, and I am also staying inside the magenta margins. So using your selection tool, you have that little bounding box. You're able to adjust every size to it. I can also scale it down, and then it gives me the exact size. But to get that angle, I'm going to use the direct select tool, and I need to click away because right now all of the anchor points are selected. They're all, as you see, filled green. So I'm going to click away, and then I'm going to click at that corner. Now the other ones are all look like they're hollowed out, white filled, but this one's that solid green, and that's exactly what I need. I'm going to drag down, and I hold down the shift key just to keep me in that vertical alignment. Now if we have something to compare next to it, right here in the ruler, I'm going to drag down one of the guides. So that helps me also to see, and more or less in that range. Once you have completed that, or you need to make some more adjustment, which we can do later, let's just start working on these 3 panels down here. Again, I'm using the rectangle frame that has that little X because we're going to have placement of images inside. I'm just going to make a regular rectangle. I'm going to add a black stroke, 2 point weight, so I'm able to see it better. And then using your selection tool, you're just making those slight adjustments and tweaks that you need. In order to manipulate individually those anchor points, you need to go to the direct selection tool, and that also allows you to do that. Let's make a temporary diagonal ruler so I can get that spacing. I'm going to go into the line tool. I'm going to drag and make a parallel line. Just add a little bit of a stroke weight. And this line, use it like a guide for the spacing. So I'm going to make sure the even spacing right here, and that looks good. Because I'm going to use it as a guide and I'm going to overlap this box on top of it, I don't want this to be a problem. So I'm going to lock that temporary line that I created. Command L to lock it. And that little lock box shows up. Now I'm able to go back to this box and then adjust that anchor point to line right on top of it. And the spacing, we're going to go back and make more changes as well. Now what I'm doing right now, I am making from scratch. As you can see, I have the image off to the side, and I'm trying to recreate it just by eyeballing it. If you have the opportunity to get an image of what you're trying to recreate, you can always do a screen capture, direct screen capture, bring it in, lock it down, and then you can physically trace on top of it. So I'm going to finish this up, and again I'm going to make sure I'm trying to mimic and recreate this and using my grid and guides to do that. So I fast forward and actually redid everything to match up the best to my abilities. This right here is still my locked line guide, so we're just going to go to Object, Unlock, and I'm going to delete that. Now let's go back to the View, Guides and Grids, and we're going to hide that document grid. If the guides bother you, you could just select it. It lights up and then you can delete it. If you try to select a guide and it doesn't allow you to delete, that means you need to go back to View, Grid Guides, and you have the lock checked here. So you just need to uncheck that. So mine are unchecked, so I'm able to delete those guides. I'm going to be ready to input some of the pictures that I have. So I'm going to select the first frame, go to File, Place, and wherever you have your InDesign file, you want to make sure that everything is in one folder. Yours are going to be named differently, but the point is it's one folder that has the InDesign file, and the source that goes inside that file lives in the same folder. Everything here in this folder for that file is all in one place, and that's very important. So we're going to grab the one image that I need, and that's going to be the JPEG right here. I'm going to hit open, and the image itself is a little scaled down. So again, the frame is exactly what I need, but now I need to scale the image. So the content grabber, I'm going to click on it. As you can see, the bounding box here is the exact size of the image inside the frame. And then I'm going to hold down the shift key just to scale proportionally within the frame. And when you want to move it around inside your frame, you want to make sure you see that little hand dial over the content grabber, and you're able to adjust that image around. So we're basically moving this image inside that frame, just like a window. And once you're done with that frame, I like to lock it, Command L, and then I'm going to now do the same thing and bring in these three for each of these. Alright, so they're all there now. And again, when you want to bring something into a frame, you select the frame, then you go to File and go to Place, and that will target it directly in there. And then the image inside, I click on the content grabber and then I scaled it, and so it's kind of like allowing you to see only what you want within that frame. So more or less I scale these relatively to the same size, and the goal is trying to get to see the overall. For this box right here, we've done this before in a different video and we're going to do it again. This is our narrator box. So we are going to again make sure this is locked. Now I'm going to make the narrator box that you see right here. We've done this in a different video, so I'm going to go to the type tool. I draw out the type box, and now I'm going to write these words exactly in there. I've already copied the words, so I'm just going to paste those words. Once we have that, I'm going to go to the selection tool. The reason being is I'm done with the typing of the words and I want to change the background of my type box. So I'm going to pick the yellow that I already saved in my swatch, and I'm going to also make that stroke black 2-point. Now if you need to make changes with your words, you can again select the type box, then click on the type tool. That allows you to go into your font selection, and we know that we're doing everything as Arial Narrow, 18-point, bold, and we did make our baseline to be that -8. And we also, within the paragraph formatting, we made sure that it was aligned center. Now the next step we're going to do is bring in the Illustrator pigs that we have right there. So I'm going to also again use the rectangle frame. I have this image locked and I know relatively the scale. So I'm going to draw the first frame, and then with that selected I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to go to the actual Illustrator file. This is the pig one, and we want to have make sure Show Import Options is checked mark. If you don't see this, that means you have this button. You need to click on Options to reveal that. I'm going to hit Open, and I'm going to go back right here to the layers, and the layer that I want is the walking layer. So that's the only eyeball there that's for the walking, and you visually see whatever's here is what you get, and I don't mess with any of the information here. Now it comes in much larger than the scale of my frame. How do we resize the image inside the frame? While this is selected, I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to where it says Fitting, and I'm going to select Fit Content Proportionally, and that fits it exactly right there. Now I'm going to use that, I'm going to copy it over here, hold down the Option key, let go of the mouse, copy it again, hold down the Option key, let go of the mouse, and for the other pigs, all I need to do is click here, File, Place, go to the next file, select the actual pig for that one, and again it's for the walking, and it swaps out that image, but you don't have to scale because it mimics all that. So again, select this one, File, Place, go to the next file that you need, and we're grabbing the walking information layer for that one, turn off everything else, so that's exactly what I need, and now I have the three pigs walking across. Now for this one, looks a little tricky, but it's actually not. Right now what I need to do is make sure everything is locked down below. So everything here is locked and you can see that little padlock. I'm not going to create a frame. I'm going to bring it in as the actual size. So I'm going to go to, nothing is selected. I'm going to go to File, Place. Now I need to have the one which says the wave open, and as you can see it's attached to my mouse. I'm going to click down. See if that happens, I just do a Command Z and then lets me try again. So I just do a click. There we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Right now, the frame is the exact size of the image. That's why if I clicked on the image, you don't really see a change per se on a different window around there, right? I need to scale the frame and the image at the same time. And how I do that is I need to make sure I select it, and I'm going to hold down Shift and Command at the same time. Hold down those two keys before you start scaling, and everything will scale proportionally, including the frame and the image inside the frame. Now as you can see, this is looks like it's cut off. So you just want to scale it to the size you need it to be. And how do we make that bottom half disappear? Well, we mentioned this before. The frame is like a window. So all you need to do is select the frame, not the image, and you're going to drag that frame up. So then all that bottom half disappears. And because the frame are made up of anchor points at each corner, I'm going to go to the Direct Select tool. I'm going to click away and then click to select just that anchor point. I'm going to drag that up and hold down the Shift key, and then I have that one exactly where I need it to be. It's very important that for this to give the illusion that it's actually inside that background frame, you need to make sure that you go above that black stroke. If you actually left it more like this, visually I know that's not, oh, okay, that's something pasted on top. But that's why we slightly went above, so we have that illusion that that pig was already brought inside that larger frame with the image. And that right there concludes this tutorial.